Beers and Banter, episode 14. It's a full house here tonight in the sweaty box. We've got all the Origin talk. All the Aussie girls overseas are dominating. We've got a beer tasting specialist, so I'm looking forward to that, and a science update with Timmy to finish. Let's hit it. Wow. Lots happening tonight.
Full house, Big Red.
I'm Big Red, obviously, as always. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Pete, work at Stone and Wood.
That's all right, Pete.
It's Pete.
Yep.
Junior.
Junior's in the house.
Finally.
Junior's Jaffa.
Finally get a gig.
He's here to face the music.
Big Dillsy here.
We've had another shocker over the weekend.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's a new week.
So the North Billy Nippers can put a face to the name.
We'll give out his address later on.
Yeah.
We're going to do all our normal content tonight, but we're also going to do a bit of a beer tasting. So let's start with it. Well, what do we got here, Pete?
You tell me first. Have a try. Have a smell.
It's pretty good.
It's not 4X.
That's for sure.
That's one of my favourites actually at the moment. So I know what it is, yeah.
You know what it is?
Pacific Ale.
Yep.
Yeah. Good deal.
Had a few of them in my day.
But you'll notice it's pretty hazy to look at instead of bright like most beers.
Is this one of the most popular?
By far, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
A lot of places got it on tap now.
Yeah, it's very popular.
So do they not filter it?
Yeah, they do. It goes through a partial... Well, you put me on the spot there, Tim, haven't you?
Oh, you can't answer that.
Well, I'm not 100% sure, yeah.
Good question, though, Timmy, from the crowd.
I'd rather not.
Not sure.
What were your craft beers?
Are our listeners at home going to pick you up tonight or not?
Yeah, so because most of your craft beers are like you said, they're not kind of clear. So I suppose it's the filtration process. Maybe I'm not sure. Pete obviously can't answer that.
No,
So,
someone's filtered.
well, can you tell us the difference then? All right, between why is it called a Pacific Ale? So what makes a Pacific Ale a Pacific Ale?
It's just a name the owners come up with, the founders.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But it is a style of beer now.
Yeah.
So they were the first one with the Pacific Ale,
Yeah.
and now others release.
Oh, really?
Pacific Ale.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So what's the difference between like a Pacific Ale and like an IPA or something like that?
Like a pale ale.
Well, the taste, obviously, there's a lot. The Galaxy hops are the main thing that are used in the Pacific Ale that gives it its flavour.
Yeah, right.
Passion fruity, that different taste.
He's been very cagey. Pete.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what I can and can't
We'll
say.
get a few more beers into him, and then we'll have all the
It's like the Colonel. You can't give out the secret herbs and spices.
righto.
Because I don't do a lot of the beer stuff. I do the maintenance and engineering side of it.
That's all right. That's all right.
How much of this would get brewed yearly? How much? So it's
I know
obviously
I'm not allowed to answer that one.
can't answer that.
Yeah,
There you
that's
go.
the one.
Got him.
I know I'm not allowed to answer that one.
But it's obviously started out as a small boutique brewery, which is now.
Yeah,
I mean,
by
Stone and
three-
Wood's everywhere now.
Yeah, by three mates who
right.
worked for the big boys and then decided to start their own brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And how long ago was that?
Just over 10 years now.
Okay.
Excellent.
They started up and sales weren't great to start with, but then they soon picked up and now they're the second biggest independent brewery in Australia.
Really?
Wow. Based in Byron. Yeah.
And Moolumbar,
Moolumbar. Yeah.
Northern Rivers.
That's good. Nice local beer.
Yeah.
To be honest, our region's really dominating that space, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah, there's a lot of craft breweries popping up everywhere now.
Yeah.
Have they got any sponsorship funds still available?
No, they're more on the volunteering side
Okay.
and they don't go actively looking for that.
They could volunteer a few cartons every Monday night.
Yes.
All right.
For the
What
Jaffa.
we might do, we might sip on these for a little bit, and we'll get into some Origin chat, I reckon. Do you want
we have to?
Do you know what the good thing is? All Queenslanders at the table, and we didn't give the Blues fan a microphone tonight, so that's good.
Thank God
Well
for that.
planned.
What about?
What a night.
Do you want to talk Origin first? Or do you want to go through the international
Let's
footy
get the
weekend?
Origin out of the way.
Yeah.
Rip into it.
It was rough. It was a rough game of footy to watch. Just
So
completely dominated.
for me, when they ran out, it looked like a pretty pro Queensland crowd over there in WA. But
It sounded like there was a lot of Blues fans there, though.
yeah, they had their fair share. But I think typically there was probably more Queenslanders. But I said to the wife after about 15 minutes that I said this is going to be trouble here. You could just see that New South Wales were up and about. Queensland were flat. They had no go forward.
Attitude, wasn't it?
Attitude was 100% in the New South Wales corner and pretty much continued all night for a demolition.
It's funny. You can normally tell in Origin like that first hit up or that that first kick off, and I think you then get a vibe straight away. I don't know. Ever since growing up, you think, "Ooh, that
It's a-
first
it's a
set
worry.
it
Yeah.
wasn't ours," and you think, "Oh, we're in trouble here."
The worrying signs for me was that the Blues looked like they were playing on a dry track Sunday afternoon in the sun, and the Queenslanders just were in their shell, couldn't do a thing. I think my personal opinion is that I don't think we deserved a penalty try. I don't think you can 100% say that Chambers got to. And I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Queenslander, one-eyed, and I don't think it was a penalty try. I don't think you can say Chambers 100% gets to that ball. What you can say is he was 100% impeded.
Needed
So I
professional
think,
foul.
yeah, so sin bin.
Yep.
And I actually would have preferred that result for the
Yeah.
Queenslanders
Yeah,
because playing 13 on 12 for 10 minutes is actually a better result than getting that 6 points. Because was it the only 6 points we got?
Yeah.
Correct.
That's the worrying
But
sign.
going back to that, they talk about consistency, and that's all you can ask for in the referees. But all year they've been paying that sort of thing as a penalty try. So at least it was consistent.
No. They've either been sending off or
penalty
he was
try.
miles from the ball and didn't get to it.
Yeah, but he got impeded and still got there a long way ahead of any Blues player.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. It's hard to say he was 100% going to get there and get the ball down before it went over dead ball, but
The other thing, just in that first half, did you see Channel 9 in the clock?
No, I missed that, but I saw there was an article
Yeah.
today. What was going on there?
It went from 36 to 31 minutes, and I'm not sure how long it was for, but that first half did. I mean, we're getting flogged, but it felt like it went forever.
Yeah,
yeah.
we needed him to
sure.
take 5 off, not add 5.
Yeah. Usually Origin, you feel like, geez, that went quick.
Yeah.
That half went quick. And I'm thinking,
You're 100% right. Yep.
for about 58 minutes. But I don't
So
know.
we
exactly.
probably would have only lost by 28
I reckon, yeah, that's
if
right.
they didn't add
yeah.
on that 5.
Yeah.
So
They've done it.
I got told on Friday I shouldn't talk about football because I got no idea what I'm talking about. So thanks for that. But
You're going to anyway.
yeah, I'm gonna because that's what I love. That's why I'm here. That's why we set up this table every Monday night. Predictions that Travojevic should be out of place last week in the centres. He should have had 5 tries.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he's a type of player that can probably play 3 or 4 positions.
Yeah.
Admittedly, he was running off the back of Tedesco or alongside Tedesco.
So he was that missing link when Tedesco or Cook were making the break. He was that player pushing up the middle.
Yeah, and he almost played a little bit like a fullback that, like Billy Slater used to play, just hang off the hooker.
He also wasn't marking GI and Justin Hodges. You know what I mean? Like
Makes it a bit easier,
he was.
doesn't
Who was he on? Was he on Morgan? Can't remember.
I don't remember. It was just, I mean,
I was watching the game like this. So,
I mean, the first try was a good try, obviously up against Ponga there.
yeah.
And he out-jumped him. And
Showed that height.
yeah. But his other 2 tries, he was basically just following the player that had made the break and was in the right position. And, I mean, he had a good game. I thought Tedesco was awesome again. And when you look at Tedesco against Ponga, it's probably, puts to bed that probably Tedesco's still the best fullback in the game.
He came out and made
Showed
that
him
clear,
up.
didn't he?
Yeah.
It's funny. I think Nathan Brown's one. He makes Ponga watch footage of Tedesco. So there's obviously still a huge respect there, and they truly respect the way he plays, and he's clearly probably the best fullback in the game.
Yeah.
My notes for the end of the game was where was Dylan Napa, and then obviously it comes out today. He shouldn't have played. He played 23 minutes and obviously went in with the broken wrist and
It was a
couldn't return to the field. Like
Yeah.
that one's on Kevy in my opinion. Like you don't go into an Origin underdone. Like, surely we're not that light on. I know we've got a few injuries in our forwards, but
Christian Walsh there, I think, or I don't know who else was.
Well, you got to remember Napa also said all week
He's
that he was
fit.
100%
He was
right
fine.
to play.
we didn't. Did he have the big Malmaninga like
Yeah, well, the Shane
Stiff
Webke's
arm
very
on?
stiff arm
Yeah.
guard. I don't think so.
in the NFL? There would have been a steel brace in there.
one-
The Oakland Raiders would have had the metal brace in there.
The one for me that probably didn't surprise me but was pretty impressive was
Wade Graham.
Wade Graham.
Wade
yeah.
Graham. When he came in, took over from Cleary, who went down and now's out for, I think, 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think he'll miss Origin.
But, Graham has hardly played footy the last 12 months and
They reckon he's been training the house down, but he's fitter than he's ever been before.
during rehab.
just
yeah.
looks like a footballer, doesn't he? You put him anywhere.
Chambers was into his rot last night too, so he's slapping blokes on the back of the head when they're not like that. You don't need that. When he's going good, his eyes on the footy. He shut down Latrell in the first game, and
Yep.
I don't know when you start doing that, the bringing the rod in. I'm not a fan. It's focus on the footy. Make sure you're dominating the player in front of you before you start giving cheek.
Yeah. Do you make changes? You reckon?
Not a lot.
Next game?
I don't think we can.
I'm going to
Yeah,
stick.
that's true.
I'm going to stick by my thoughts in that I don't like Morgan in the centres. I
did
know,
say that a couple weeks
I know.
ago.
Bruggy wasn't happy with me, and neither was Di. But we're still not strong there, and I don't know what we've got to offer in that space. But I don't know. I'm not looking there going, geez, they're going to light something up. Like when you got Addo Carr on the other side, I don't know. Outside backs were just a bit light on.
Yeah. Do you,
Fergie Ferg played good too. I know he had a couple of drop balls, but he was pretty big too.
Yeah. How bad's his nose? Like he's plays on the left wing and his nose is on the right wing. It's horrific, isn't it? It's
A little
shocking.
bit bent.
Yeah. Do we do the SOS? Cam Smith.
There's talk of it already today. I don't
there?
think that's where we were weak, but maybe just for that calming influence.
Do you reckon he would put his hand up though?
I
He was
think
pretty adamant at the start of the year.
I think halves aren't our problem. We left Moses Mbai on the bench till like 12 minutes to go.
Yeah, what's with that? He's only played 12 minutes. And
Yeah.
He nearly died about 3 days before.
Yeah,
So-
that could be something to do with it.
So again, why play him? You're either 100% or you're not. Everyone's going, oh no, he's
Yeah.
fine, he's fine. It's like,
And
I'm pretty sure that'd be fairly taxing on your body if you've gone into anaphylactic shock.
yeah, and again, he's fully fit. We're 30 down, 30 to 6, or whatever it was. Is there a better time to bring him on earlier?
Yeah,
In 10 minutes?
That's what I mean. Like we've waited till the game was gone before he's even come on the field. I know they say the game gets away and that they can't find us time to get him into the game. That's the problem with playing a half on the bench. Is that maybe do you need Wade Graham? Is that way better option because he's a back rower that can play half.
Yeah.
We keep playing halfbacks that we try and make play back row when the game doesn't go our way.
Well, go back 5 weeks, and Moses Mbai was up against Milford, and there was a couple other players in the talk for that utility player.
Yeah,
And Kevy came out time and time again and backed Moses to do the job.
yeah,
We've now had 2 Origin games, and he's played all of
barely played.
25 minutes total in 2 games. So
Yeah.
for me, that doesn't add up.
I don't think it worked when Cherry came off the bench. Couldn't get in the game. Unless a halfback goes down, they're coming on as a back rower.
Yeah, you need someone that's got to be.
I'd rather a back rower that can throw the ball around.
Yeah.
And that's what they had, and I think we lacked it.
Big question now is, can Queensland turn it around for game 3?
I think they can. Don't write them off. There's been plenty of blowout scores, and we turn around and aim up.
Yeah, it's tough going to Sydney. You'd imagine the track's probably, it was really wet last night, but damp track again. Tedesco plays the way he does. Cook goes through the middle. I think, without making wholesale changes, the attitude needs to be a lot different, doesn't it? It's
Yeah.
disappointing to see too, because
Well,
Queensland's always
so-
one where we come back, but it just didn't look like we were even remotely in the game last night.
What about comment from DCE after the game? I know it's a throwaway cliche line, but he said we just didn't turn up with the right intent to play tonight. And it's like, what? What were you doing all week? It's Origin week, and you didn't turn up with the right intent to play. What I'd rather, he said, was, geez, we played like busted asses tonight.
Yeah.
They got the better of us early, and we just couldn't catch up. But saying you didn't turn up with the right intent, well, I just that's mind-boggling to me. I don't get it.
The positive for me moving to game 3 is New South Wales are already carrying on like they've won the series.
So that's a good sign.
And that's when Queensland love it. When their backs to the wall, they're under the pump, everyone's written them off.
Yeah.
I think that will help them bring the right intent and the attitude and everything to game 3. And hopefully,
What do you
Timmy's
think, Tim?
shaking his head. But he doesn't even know what rugby league is. But
Watches one game a year, just happen to be Origin where New South Wales wins, and he's full of cheek already tonight.
the other stat too is, and I know stats are there to be broken, but 72 or 73% of teams that have won the first game in Origin go on to win the series
Queensland very rarely lose, but they've never had to play game 3 of that series
in Sydney.
So if you're winning Queensland in game 1, they're normally coming back to
Coming back
Queensland
to
for game 3. But this is we've got to go to Sydney now.
What do you think of Perth? What do you think?
I thought it was good. I mean, the big
Yeah.
crowd over there. I don't know what the total number was, but it must have been 45,000.
I don't
Oh,
like.
they're
50,000?
actually 56.
Was it-
They broke the record, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they broke the Eagles record.
I think WA or Perth is a lot like Melbourne. They'll go and watch sport regardless.
I don't like rugby league played on an oval. End of story.
Yeah,
Looks strange, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, you can't tell me that when you're at the back of one of those stands on the halfway line or sort of
You're a long way
worse,
from the play.
maybe on the 20, 30 metre line, that you're getting a good game experience.
Can't
But
be.
the stadium looked amazing. Eskimo Joe rocking before the game was better than some of the acts we've had to put up with.
It's a good little precinct too there. You know, you got across the road, you got the Belmont racecourse. You wouldn't mind that, Friday afternoon. Then you got Optus Stadium and then the Crown precinct. And then there's like a bridge that goes from the city over. So good little setup, but I think it is. It's designed for cricket and AFL.
Final words. I think Queensland were penalised out of the second half. That New South Wales were dominant regardless. I don't know if DC was 100%.
Fit.
Yeah, I don't know. Munster's come out and said worst game he's ever played. Fair. I don't think we make too many changes. Obviously, maybe Napa, maybe one or two of those guys are going to get shuffled. I thought Wallace did enough gritty work to maybe hold on to his spot last night, but
He just makes the odd bad decision, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
and he just hasn't got that punch, has he? He hasn't got a lot of go forward. I mean, he tries hard, puts in 100%, but
Yeah.
he just doesn't seem to.
Jai Arrow was missed.
Jai Arrow was,
definitely,
Yeah.
I had that in the notes.
Yeah.
Just cleaning up that middle third, but even making the odd break too. So there's nothing there.
Yep, got that grit about him that I just, I reckon
All
I
right.
missed a lot.
Let's move on. We've got a lot to cover tonight.
Yeah, it's sad.
Getting thirsty here.
Timmy, you want another drink? So while you're dishing up the next ones, Pete, we'll a lot of international footy over the weekend as well.
Yeah, so obviously the no NRL for the weekend, but obviously all the internationals started on Friday night with the women's NRL, or NRL State of Origin.
I missed that one. I was in bed early.
It was quite a good game at North Sydney Oval. I think, what did we say, 10 or 11,000 people there. It's,
Yeah, 10-0.
So they're going to have to shift that game to a bigger venue,
well,
which is good for the girls.
I think they had an extra 3,000 or 4,000 people on top of last year's crowd.
Yeah.
And I believe the Channel 9 viewings numbers were quite high. So I think, and it's probably similar to women's AFL, it's something that typically the games are fairly close. It's probably different. Everyone likes to see, maybe watch something different. But yeah, it was quite a good game.
They whack each other, don't
Yeah, they have a go.
they? Yeah. Like, there's no holding back. I reckon it's great. It's good to see great support. I saw someone come out and say, they should have played at Parramatta Stadium or the Banquet Stadium. But I think those grounds suit it. If you can pack out a ground that holds, say, 12,000 people and you put 10.5 in there, looks a whole lot better than sticking 10.
Yeah, the atmosphere sounded awesome.
Yeah.
Where it was at North Sydney?
North Sydney.
Or Sydney
yeah.
Oval, yeah.
Yeah, righto.
And then obviously the internationals.
Tried to catch a little bit of the international footy on Saturday afternoon. Benji, very passionate.
I think he was excited to be back in the New Zealand jumper.
Kiwis have sort of flexed a little bit there, and
Didn't they?
I think they would have been embarrassed the last couple of encounters they've had with Tonga. So they've shown some dominance again. But I'm really excited about international rugby league now that guys are starting to go. No. And as much as I love Origin, it should not be the pinnacle of our sport. Playing for your country should be the pinnacle of rugby league. If you want it to be an international game, the international teams have got to be the peak powers. And the fact that there's guys going, oh no, I want to go and play for my country, as opposed to, oh well, yeah, I've played a lot in Queensland, so I want to be a Queenslander, or I want that 30 grand extra.
Yeah. I think it's got to come back to the heritage. You know, I think if you're born in New Zealand, you're born in Tonga, you make that decision from the start. And that should wear. Like the thing that I have a problem with is when they jump. You're Fafita going from one to the other.
Yeah.
You know, make the decision first. If you're really, truly passionate about it.
I think he's drawn a line in the sand.
He
though.
has
Like,
now, yeah.
He said it's Tonga.
Tonga, yeah. But I think, you know, from the start, make a choice. I mean, I don't think anyone has anyone from Queensland? I don't think so.
If it what?
Jump ship to the... You know, if I'm a New South Wales fan and I see Fafita, I want him to play.
Tony Carroll did.
Tony Carroll?
Tony Carroll played for the Kiwis in a World Cup, I'm pretty sure.
No,
The
but
jaw.
you're saying Queensland and New South Wales, aren't you?
Yeah. So, you know, like if I'm a New South Wales fan, Fafita chooses to play for Tonga now, I'd be, you know, I think Fafita would make a difference to that side.
Yeah, probably.
You'd be, you know, you're pretty headless at jumping ship. But anyway, it's great for international footy.
Any
Fantastic.
highlights? Probably the pre-games are always pretty good for that international round.
Yeah, I didn't watch too much of it. I saw a bit of the New Zealand game, but I didn't see a whole lot of that.
Before we move off the NRL, Titans comings and goings. We've got Max King. He was off to Melbourne, then he's back. Now he's on the road to Melbourne again. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if we should.
So from all reports, he was halfway to Melbourne with his car packed, expecting to go down and play for the Storm. Got the phone call when Arrow obviously got injured for long term. Said, no, we need you. Turned around, came back to the Gold Coast, and this was only last week, middle to late last week, and now comes out today that they've released him to Melbourne Storm again.
Yeah, mind-boggling.
So he's back on the road, halfway down to Melbourne again.
Strange, isn't it?
We did pick up a test centre, though, from the UK, so I think he's going to be good in. His name escapes me at the moment. Peachy, sorry. He was the Leeds Rhinos captain. Callum Watkins has joined the Titans, so he's a big in for us in the outside backs. But yeah, Peachy, is he gone or not? Is he?
Well, June 30's fast approaching, so maybe it's all.
He might see out the season.
Yeah, maybe it's all gone a bit quiet, but
What's a contract now, hey?
doesn't mean much, does it?
Uh-huh.
No,
Bit darker this one, Pete.
it is.
Yeah,
What do we got?
This is a cloud catcher.
Cloud catcher.
That sounds good.
Yes. Have you had it before or not?
No.
No, that's my
Cloud
first
catcher.
time.
It's quite hoppy.
Not as fruity as the last
No,
one.
not as fruity.
Yeah,
Is
not
it,
as
is it a bit woody?
Yeah.
That one. So, no.
That's how they get the wood in the stone.
No, that one's later.
Is this a new one? Is this relatively new?
No, it's been around
They've
for
been
quite
around.
a while, but
Yeah.
I feel like I needed a glass of water in between beers just to cleanse my palate.
Sniffs.
would make it better.
No, you can't.
Can't say I've seen
chewing
that
in
one
the
before.
mic.
No.
I don't think I've had it before.
Yeah, it's quite a nice drop. I like it.
Cloud catcher.
So it's a pale ale as well.
Australian pale ale.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cloud catcher.
So we introduced that one when we opened up our new shop at Wollumbar, and it was around Mount Warning, the cloud catcher.
Is that
Hence the name.
Yeah.
we can actually see Mount Warning from the back of the studio, so that's a nice little tie-in. I might have to get a few of those to sit out the back.
You boys could do an outside broadcast one day. What do
You
you
got
think?
the Taj Mahal.
Just a little bit windy. We might have to get some sock mics. AFL.
Burley Taj Mahal.
I watched some AFL on the weekend. I'll have you know.
Good. You're
Hey.
getting into it.
I just wanted to keep an eye on the grub down there playing Port Adelaide.
Junior will fill us in, but he watched a bit of football, or first half of it at the SCG, but we'll touch on that in a minute.
Yeah.
So AFL, obviously the split round this week, so only 4 or 5 games
Yeah,
with half the team still having a bye.
Port Adelaide. That looked like a game we would have actually bet on the Cats to win, wouldn't we?
We probably, yeah, I did look at that. I did look at that.
I wish we had a bet on Port.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Well, we wouldn't have backed Port. We probably would have backed Geelong.
Yeah, so they struggled. They couldn't get near Port Adelaide.
Port, and I spoke earlier about intent and attitude and everything. Port you could see very early on, Port turned up to play there. Obviously, a big game against Geelong in Adelaide on a Friday night. They just jumped them early, and Geelong couldn't answer. It got a little bit close towards the end, but Geelong didn't lose any credibility.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a big game for Port to stay firmly entrenched in the 8.
It come out through the week that one of the young Pies players has been following Juniors Jaffa each week, but
Hopefully he hasn't been following.
He didn't realise he was betting on Collingwood. So
His own side.
Yeah, so Jaden Stevenson, young second-year player, was actually Rookie of the Year last year. He's a pretty good footballer.
So what sort of money would he be on? Second-year AFL player?
He'd be on 500 maybe, 450, 500, 400. I'm not sure.
And he's had a $36
He's got a
bet.
$36 bet. He's owned up to it. Apparently went into the rooms after the game and was talking to one of the other players and bagged one of his teammates because it cost him the multi.
Didn't he have the kick? He had a kick and he kicked it. I was like, yeah.
So he had one of the players to kick. Yeah, it was
Two
a
or
multi with X amount of goals, another player to have X amount of possessions, and he went in and bagged one of his teammates because he let him down in the multi.
Jesus.
And his teammate turned around and said, "Oh, mate, I think you should maybe go and see the management about that." And anyway, he's been he's been handed a 12-week suspension. So $36 worth of multis.
I wish we had $36 on us.
Only.
Yeah, yeah.
So he'll be out I think he'll be back just in time for finals, but it's actually the third Collingwood player that's now been suspended or fined for betting.
They might need to do some player education down there by the sounds of it.
It's
Maybe.
rife in the AFL.
Is it?
I've heard. Yeah, rife. Oh, it's probably like that. There's a lot of free time, and you think with there's such a high income, with
Well,
salaries,
The league went through it a while back, didn't they, with guys giving away penalties in front of the sticks and stuff? Just
kicking goals for first point.
Well, I think, like you say, there's a lot of both NRL and AFL footballers love to have a bet. Like you say, they got a lot of free time. They're making big money. A lot of time off during the day, so they don't mind a bet. Be it on horses or other sports, but obviously when you start betting on your own sport and then games that you're involved in, it's probably not ideal.
So Junior, you've got a bit of a story. You watched half a footy game on the weekend?
I got 1.5 quarters.
So it ties into what we were talking about last week about crowd behaviour.
Yeah, that sounds shocking, doesn't it? No, so I was at the scene. We go down to Sydney. It was a nice weekend. Flying to Sydney Friday to watch the Swans versus Hawthorn.
Yeah.
Buddy plays his old side, and you guys spoke about it a couple of weeks ago about this, this crowd liaison officer or something like that the AFL's put in place in Melbourne. Anyway, we're there, sort of a group of six or seven, and halfway through the second quarter, we get a tap on the shoulder. Come with us, and I mean, we're halfway through the second quarter, so how much damage can be done? And to be honest, all that may have been said is the umpires look like grasshoppers. They have a green outfit on. It says OPSM, and they prance around. He's a bit of a tall bloke on the boundary line umpire. So maybe grasshopper got said. We looked around. There's no families. There's no kids, and instantly we're all out with these liaisons.
So any swearing in that?
To be honest, if there was, it wasn't shocking.
Yeah.
And on the top of my head, I don't think so. So straight away out, as we're walking out, police officers come up, and
So you've been kicked out by ground security, not
ground
police.
security, not police. Yep. For what incident? We weren't sure. But and this stems from the problems they're having in Melbourne a couple of weeks ago. People not really sure why they've been escorted from the ground. So, yep, out we go. Asking the police officers, they had no idea. I said, guys, we really can't tell you. We just get called when these liaison guys come in And off we went. And then they let you know that you shouldn't come back for 3 months to the SCG.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Junior was saying before, the police actually commented that it's an issue.
Yeah.
It's out of their control, but they're actually, well, this policeman was saying that it's completely overboard. And it's like we said the other week, it's, the fans that's what makes the game in any sport.
Yep.
And it obviously appears like the AFL's taking it overboard.
Yeah, and you feel horrible. Everyone's looking at
Not
you.
the first time you've been kicked
No,
out.
that's right. No, I mean I've done a lot worse.
Hasn't been kicked out.
Yeah, if you go to a state of origin, some of the things that get said, or even if you go to the Gabba, if you're at the cricket, if you're staring at fine leg, if you're playing a Boxing Day test, like you're getting called all sorts of things. We may have called a bloke a grasshopper and we're done.
Imagine putting those crowd liaison officers on the old terraces at the northern end of Lang Park.
Throwing cans.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
30 years ago.
Yeah,
Wow.
So yeah, I just thought that was a bit, and it obviously came up from the last couple of podcasts
As
ago.
we said, it's obviously a reaction of what's been going on in Melbourne.
The big, yeah.
And the AFL have obviously decided that they need to make a stance, and be interesting to see how long it continues for.
Yes, to the SCG, I apologise.
See you in 4 months.
See you in 4 months. Yeah, come finals time.
So they take your name down, take your picture, or
Oh,
what?
the tickets, I think, yeah.
Yeah,
Tickets
righto.
are given out. I'm sure there's a few photos. I bought a Swans bean and everything. Anyway.
Let's move on. There is some good news to cover this week. Overnight, 3 Aussie women have just absolutely dominated their sports worldwide. So we've got Ash Barty's moved to world number 1 tennis. You've got Hannah Green's won the
LPGA major in the women's golf,
and Sally Fitzgibbons won the Oi Rio women's surfing. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the treble, the quaddie, the Matildas out over the weekend.
Yeah, they got knocked out. But I mean, Ash Barty, what about the run she's having? French
Unbelievable.
Open into this first grass event of the grass season. So she's gone back-to-back tournament wins.
Had to beat Venus Williams too on the way to that win.
Yeah, beat Venus early on the third round. But now risen to number 1, and probably going to start favourite, if not one of the top favourites for Wimbledon.
That's awesome.
That's so good, isn't it?
Should keep her on the opposite side of the draw to a lot of threats
I think
too.
it does as top seed, yeah. Get an easier run through. I mean, 3 years ago she was playing for the Heat, Brisbane Heat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gave
Playing
up tennis. Had enough.
Had enough, and seems like really down to earth. Ipswich grammar girl.
We're claiming as a local, just southeast Queensland local.
Yeah.
Ipswich is
Gold
part of the Gold Coast.
Gold
isn't it?
Coast, yeah. It's great.
And then also, obviously, Hannah Green, so a 22-year-old girl from Australia. I think second year on the tour in America, and picked up the major, led from start to finish. So that was pretty awesome. 700,000, I think, prize money.
It's massive.
First major winner since Kari Webb.
That'd get you out of a few jams.
And actually,
700,000.
it was. I watched a bit of the last few holes, and Kari Webb and a few of the other Aussie girls were in the crowd. So Kari Webb actually took her under her wing 5 or 6 years ago. And actually,
What about them spraying beers on the green? Surely the greenskeepers wouldn't have been happy about that.
that's fine.
Dylan
never
sprayed
seen that.
plenty worse on greens, I reckon.
I've never seen that though, where they let them run onto the green and spraying cans. And
Yeah, I think the
Happens
women's do a
anybody
bit.
check
Happens
Yeah.
a bit in the women's.
anyone
Yeah.
check their shoes to make sure they didn't have the wrong shoes on? To wreck the greens.
Happy, right?
You'll be right,
Played
Rex.
golf lately, Red?
Don't worry about it. You'll be all right.
You play golf with Tim? He makes you look like a star.
Yeah. You look like Curry.
Yep. Keep hanging shit on Tim because
Sorry,
he
Tim,
can't come
we
back.
can't hear you.
And he doesn't tuck his shirt in, so he gets kicked off for that.
Just a grub.
That's good.
Typical New South Welshman.
That's
Yeah,
good.
so some good results there in the women's sport.
What about big match tomorrow night in the cricket? I better see Nathan Lyon, otherwise I'm not going to be happy.
Oh, look,
I don't think he'll play.
I don't know what's going on there. I mean, you look at Adam Zampa or Nathan Lyon. I think I'm playing, especially in the matches where Lyon hasn't played. They've stacked loads of left-handers, which traditionally off-spinnable bowl.
Yeah.
better. To
And there's a fair
left-hander.
few in the English lineup too, isn't there?
I think so. Yeah. Well, there's definitely 3 there that cause some damage. So, look, I mean, we're doing all right, but I don't know if we're setting the world on fire.
So
Yeah.
what do we got? Australia, England tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Australia, England tomorrow night at Lords. Yeah.
But isn't that a good sign, Junior, that we're winning games and we're almost guaranteed to advance? But as you say, I don't think we've hit top gear yet.
I just don't know if the selections are right. Looking at the thing for me the other night was when Kawaja and Maxwell had that run out, and Kawaja just gave up. I mean, and Warney's come out and just publicly just given it to the bloke, selfish bloke. Wears a $30,000 watch, in the field.
Giving it to Kwaja.
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
In the field?
in the field, mate.
Who does that?
Who does that? There's the thing. And I think
Even
just,
Warney wouldn't have done that.
No,
You only wear yours to work, don't you?
it's 40 grand. What are you talking about? But I just think there's probably some things, and the body language of Maxwell, the body language of Kawaja at that time, maybe I haven't got it right, but you'd like to see him get that. I reckon Finch has been outstanding.
Yeah.
Warner's been
Warner's,
phenomenal.
yeah. Look, there's a guy, right? There's someone that you look at. The world hated the bloke, and I've changed my thoughts on him. I think
He's
good on
forgiven
him.
here
Yeah.
in the sweaty box.
The sweaty
It's a
box.
safe place for Dave Warner
He was
now.
forgiven the other night when he made 166.
Yeah. I think it's great. Steve Smith's doing his bit. He'll get
He
better.
hasn't really fired but yet, so that's probably a good sign. Is
Yep.
that if he clicks,
He's got a good one up
Yeah.
his sleeve.
Do you still think, Junior, that Smith and Warner, that environment within the team is still, or is back to where it would have been or should be?
Oh, look, I think so. I think they've probably in that group that are there at the moment. I reckon it's all going okay.
You've been watching any of the cricket, Pete?
Not a lot, no.
Like-
Too busy
making
making,
beer.
too busy making the old cloud catcher.
Yeah. So, boys, we've got
The rest of us don't have real jobs, so that's why we have to stay up all night watching cricket.
It's a good job to have,
Oh,
though.
Timmy wants another
Who
drink.
wants another one?
What do you got in that little bag?
Oh, lots of different stuff. Try something different.
So how many games left? We've got New Zealand,
we've
we've
got
got England, New Zealand.
then New Zealand. We might have one more, I think, maybe against South Africa, who are going horribly. And then, but how long's the tournament? It's ridiculous. Goes forever.
Faf's not happy. He's blowing up deluxe on the telly today.
Bangladesh have been the one that I've loved. I've watched a bit of them, and they've been competitive. They've won a few games.
I haven't seen much of the Kiwis. Are they just flying under the radar there?
Yeah.
Or what?
Unbeaten, I think, aren't they?
They,
So New Zealand and Australia are
He's
top
short
two at the
pouring
moment.
there. For you too, Timmy. It's
I know what he's like. He can't handle his... Oh,
that's
Because he's driving him home.
you.
fair enough.
He's,
Good point. Drink responsibly, gamble responsibly. What do we normally do? Yeah. Yeah, righto.
Yeah, just quickly, boys. Bangladesh are beating South Africa on the standings.
So how many
What
go
about
through?
Afghanistan? Are they
They're dead last, but they nearly toppled India a while 2 games ago.
South Africa's second last?
South Africa's second last.
Wow,
Does that make you feel good?
I think they lost their first 3 in a row, didn't they?
crazy. All right, what do we got? What do we got here?
Hey,
Next beer.
So this is a different beer. Wait till you try it.
ooh,
Got a bit of aftertaste, isn't it?
you couldn't really settle in for a day on those.
Yeah, it's an IPA, so
Yeah.
it's got a lot of kick to it, a lot of bitterness. It's a
What's this one
citru-
called, Pete?
It's called Squish.
Squish.
Yeah, it's a citrus IPA.
What's IPA?
It's an Indian Pale Ale.
So are these last two are commercially available?
Yep, you can buy them commercially.
Never seen them.
It's quite refreshing, isn't it?
It's not bad. So
But-
IPA, is there like an international standard for IPA? To call something an IPA, it needs to.
Yeah, it's got to hit the IBUs and the bitterness.
Yep. Yeah, righto.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, that's growing. It's good.
This
Probably helps that
episode
we've
could
had
cost me a
4 already.
fortune.
You get it's just that bitter taste that you're not used
Funny
to.
how the
that
more you
citrus.
drink, the better they all taste.
Yeah.
Well, they're getting stronger too. The percentage
Oh.
of alcohol's
Oh, that's good.
Here we go.
well, that's 5.9% alcohol.
Oh.
So
So we're all sleeping in the sweaty box.
We'll have to get the swag out.
I've left the heavy hitter to last. Anyhow,
Ooh, look out.
Fantastic.
What about the rugby union, Red? We're down to the final four.
It's probably not a strong point for either of us, but there's a bit happening over there in the rugby. I don't know. I obviously watch a lot of the drama. I don't get to watch a lot of the games, which that's probably why rugby's struggling a little bit. Is that their games aren't in great time slots. They're playing a lot of games in Argentina, Japan, South Africa. And rugby's hemorrhaging money at the moment. They're struggling. They were hoping this global rugby competition would kick off, but I think it was kiboshed by the European teams because there was chances for them to be relegated. And also they wanted a massive chunk of the money too because obviously there's a bigger population over there, so a bigger TV market. I think that was going to free Australia up to play, just trans-Tasman stuff with New Zealand. But I think that's all fallen over. So now they're struggling with Fox Sports not wanting to put in as much money into the next deal. So not great, and they're probably not looking forward to a legal battle with their former poster boy, which at least his plot. What's the right word? His options sort of dried up a little bit today. He got taken off the GoFundMe website, which I think was a good thing.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I mean, he obviously set up that GoFundMe as he's played the victim throughout this whole thing, be it right or wrong, but set up the GoFundMe, basically asking people to support his belief of free speech and religion and everything else that he's...
What I would have liked, what would have been nice is instead of refunding the money to all the people, is that money just got split again across some of those sick kids that needed some cash.
Good call.
I thought that would have been nicer, but obviously you can't tell people where they're spending their money.
So I think it was up to, was it nearly 400,000 he'd raised?
Got to
700,000?
Yeah, overnight, 700.
Since...
maybe we should start a GoFundMe for the pod.
We should start picking on minorities.
Timmy, no.
Lucky that's not a microphone. Yeah. No one would have heard that, Timmy.
But don't people suck? There was Drew Mitchell put something up where he called him out. Sick kids had raised 40,000, and here's this bloke who did drive a Lamborghini, has a $10 million property portfolio, and had raised $500,000 at the same time.
I read on the Batuta Advocate though that the coil pack in the Lambo's gone, so he's gonna be up for some cash.
Cash.
So yeah, I mean it's back to obviously the Super Rugby. Is
rugby dead? That was the question I wrote down on the notebook this week.
I think it's probably been the last 2 or 3 years you've really seen, especially crowd numbers at the games deteriorate. A few times I've flicked over to obviously the Reds game or Waratahs games, and the Reds at Suncorp. Well, back in the day, go to a Reds game, it was sold out every week. Every second week they were at home. Now they're flat out getting 10 or 12,000 people there.
Might try and get a rugby tragic on in the next couple of weeks. Give us a state of the union.
But on the back of that, it's obviously they're now down to the final four in the Super 15. We've got one Aussie side left, the Brumbies. So they'll go to Argentina and play the Argentinian side, and then the other semi-final will be the two New Zealand sides, the Crusaders and Hurricanes. So hard to see Crusaders not winning again for about the 6th or 7th time in the last 8 years.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where my interest wanes when there's no...
Well, as you say, that potentially could be detrimental to the game. I mean, the same New Zealand sides have been...
For me, rugby doesn't start till the Bledisloe kicks off.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Well, and that's, how long since Australia's been competitive at the Bledisloe.
Yeah.
I think the other two I remember growing up, it was always on pay TV, rugby. It was Super 12. It was always on pay TV. So you probably didn't get the following when you were younger if you didn't have pay TV.
It still is, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think it's... has it ever been on free to air? I don't think it's ever been.
I don't think so.
Which makes it hard.
That's baffling that they wouldn't put one game on a week.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it. So
no one's interested.
It's hard to follow. It's a good game when it's good. Nothing better than a Wallabies test match. I think it's great.
Well, as a kid, I was just a footy fan. Like, it didn't matter. I'd loved watching the Wallabies play. Like, their backline moves were unbelievable. We were in everything, and I don't know. I don't know what happened. I'm certainly really one-eyed now that I'm really a rugby league fan, but I'd still love to see the Wallabies doing well. So, World Cup year, we can only hope that there's a bit of a wave of support starts ticking up when they start playing the Kiwis.
We'll see what happens.
We got anything on the notebooks left? We've got my man Ricardo had another tough night at the office. Bit of shake and bake at the end of the race, cost him 10 seconds in penalties in the end, so which pushed him back down the order
Yeah, I
again.
saw the highlights there. So he had a bit of a jostle with a couple other cars there late in the race.
It's a funny track, like it's really wide, but it's painted on the definition of what the track is. So essentially, he went around the outside, which was off the track, but technically it was still on good bitumen, and but if all four wheels leave leave the lines, and then he re-entered, and they're basically saying it was technically it's funny the rule that saw Vettel lose top spot the week before in Canada. The same thing happened 3 or 4 times in this race, which was just uncanny because they were all basically, it was massive debate the week before, and then all of a sudden it happened 3 or 4 times in that race. So, yeah, just an interesting one. Hamilton, I can't see anybody touching him this year, but that's probably good enough to knock him. He'll probably have 3 engine failures for the next 3 weeks. Maybe that's where the Jaffa should be going on.
Yeah, wait till you
on Lewis.
Red says something.
Speaking of which,
The Jaffa.
what do we got? We're
Gosh.
back to donut again.
0. Yeah, we had the 10 on Munster. We had the 180 odd on, or 180 on the Maroons. So good work, Junior.
Yeah,
So
neither of those went real close.
So
I don't reckon.
we now know why Munster had the worst game of his life, because we were on him to score the first try.
Correct. And now we know why the Maroons went
Ooh,
so bad.
look at this.
Is that a coffee?
You'll soon find out.
Get that in my camera.
Who's not driving?
Me.
Me.
Uber for you,
I'm
blokes.
staying here.
Yeah. Pass me a glass there. Dylan.
It's like a little Guinness.
Timmy's having flashbacks. Ooh, that is. Ooh, I don't normally drink dark beers, but that's not bad.
That'll put hair on your chest, Red.
Whew.
Big red ones.
I'm not quite sure if it's the morning or the. Yeah, smoky.
What do we got there,
What have we got
Pete?
here?
So this is our signature beer. It's called the Stone Beer. It's only released once a year, annually, so limited release.
Yeah, right.
We just had our festival the other day. Big success. Tim didn't recover too well after it.
Festival of
Lightweight.
The Stone.
the Stone.
Yeah, so it pays homage to the way beer was made, wood and fire. So we actually have hot coals and make it the traditional way.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
So
And you've brought a carton for us to leave with us tonight. Thanks for that, Pete. Really good of you.
Very limited release.
What's a carton of that going to cost us?
110.
110. Whew. But there's 48 in the carton. No,
No,
There's only
just
2
the-
cartons available in Australia.
that's not bad.
So you get that burnt coffee
Yeah,
sort of.
yeah, it's good.
It's
And
nice.
if there is a chocolatey taste at the end of it, aftertaste too, you sort of.
So if anyone at home got their hands on a carton of that and they want to send it to the show, we'll
drink it.
Send us a direct message on Twitter or Instagram. Yeah, that's nice. I really like that.
It's different. It's not your standard
So,
sort of.
so when you say only released, is it July or around this time? Is it
Yeah, around this time.
middle of the year
yeah.
every year? Keep the eyes open for
Yeah,
that.
I'm guessing
Yeah.
if you had a carton of those, you're well on your way, Pete.
Yeah, very well on your way.
What do you reckon,
Because
Jeff?
it's what are we at? 7.2%. So
Wow,
Delicious.
That'll do
get
it.
that India. Uber's home for everybody. Yeah, what was the Jaffa?
The
What
Jaffa,
have we got?
yeah. So obviously the Jaffa was good.
I got
Yeah, real
Last
good.
week,
I'm starting to think we just start going for $10 horses.
Just try and jag one.
Wow, the $1.90 just as rough. So Mate of mine got into me today. He's like, you may as well just back some roughies and see how we go.
Get rid of that bloke.
The North Burley Nippers will be the old boys by the time they get to 1,000.
Yeah,
We'll give it one more shot.
yeah, righto.
We've got some good form. I mentioned to Dylan off air. We went say there's a group who've got on board, and he's probably got a little bit more data to his tipping.
Is this one of his?
This is one of his. So
This is another mock.
this week, Essendon versus GWS, and we'll take GWS at the minus 12.5
In Melbourne?
in Melbourne.
So we need GWS.
Minus 12.5 at $1.90.
So GWS minus 12.5.
Yeah,
So they got to beat Essendon.
by
But
more than 12.
Correct. You're learning, Red.
This is good. Now I know the.
I'm going the other way.
way.
You don't watch the live
Good
show.
face, yeah.
I sit here every week.
Maroons.
He's got me.
He's an idiot. Yeah.
Hopefully you bought 100 with you too, Pete, as part of the deal.
Tim will spot me.
That's
I'll
all
pay
right.
you back next
We'll,
week.
we'll invoice the brewery for for the time slot. By 12.5. Righto.
GWS minus 12.5 at $1.90.
$1.90.
Righto. You may as well hand off the microphone now to Timmy because we've got a bit of a science update and you're good for nothing when we talk science. So
Thanks, boys, for hanging shit on me all night. No microphone to defend myself.
I've missed you.
Pete, bring up Pete. Tell everyone I got a mate. You've done nothing but hang shit on me.
He didn't look after you, did he?
Didn't look after
Threw
me
you
at all.
straight under the bus.
Yeah. Anyway, all good.
Yeah, so I spotted something through the week.
I saw that.
And
Did
it's
you
something
actually spot the meteorite, or you just saw the
I
news
saw
article?
it online,
Okay.
but it's something that keeps me awake at night. Bear with us. We've got-
you awake over there?
You right?
No, I'm starting to nod off.
Yeah.
Let's get already.
don't listen, hey.
Yeah.
So you saw
Uneducated.
you went and saw Brian Cox through the week, so
I
he
did
was,
see
you were
Brian
supposed to give us a
Cox.
full update
Oh, I
on
forgot
that.
about that. That seems so long ago. Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. I mean, he kind of there was no groundbreaking sort of. He sort of covered relativity, black holes. It was really good.
That's
I mean,
not your
it was-
relatives, Dylan. He's talking
Yeah.
about.
So I mean, he kind of it was a good. But the visuals were amazing. So what they, as you said, the TV screens, I think 16K screen. So it's beautiful. It just covered the whole back of the stage. So it was absolutely amazing to see. But I was a little bit, I mean, I don't know. It was $200 to go.
I remember.
That's a lot of money to see a scientist.
I remember the phone call when you said,
Yeah.
"Hey, do you want to come and see him?" And I said, "Yes."
Yeah. So I mean, it's $200 for a ticket.
And then I said, "No."
Yeah, but it was good. It was good. I mean, it was definitely worth going to. I didn't really get a lot out of it that I suppose was something I didn't already know, which is kind of what I was
But
hoping.
you're smarter than the average
Well,
Brian Cox fan, though.
Definitely.
Probably.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, so what I saw through the week that got something that keeps me awake at night. It could be the end of all humanity.
Meteorites.
Is a meteor coming to Earth?
I
And
did see that.
one, don't roll your eyes. There was a bloke at North Pine Dam took a picture of a meteor. So it's like we're talking southeast Queensland. You imagine a chunk of space rock coming through your roof. Like there was tremors. So what, my question for you is that people felt tremors for miles around. Was that the impact of the meteor hitting someone's house, or was
No.
that something else?
So that'd be similar to a jet. So when you get anything travelling past the speed of sound, you get the sonic boom.
So like when I used to do beach sprinting,
Yeah.
you hear the
That's
same noise.
So I think the speed of sound somewhere around 300 meters a second. So basically as soon as you break that sound, what actually happens is behind, say, a jet or a meteor, you would get the sonic boom, and it actually comes off like a cone.
Yes.
So essentially what happens is the faster it's going, the tighter the cone, which means the longer it takes for that sound to get you. So what you essentially see is a meteor going past you, or a jet.
Sounds like you need to be on the cone.
That would actually go past you, and you would sort of see that go out, potentially even
Fair
out of
call.
view. And then-
That's a different podcast. Timmy's going to pick something else up from the Northern
Nimbin,
Rivers.
I actually offered to
There
do
we
that.
go. There's that. I'll come back to
Offered.
that one.
There we go. I offered. And what are we smoking now, Tim? Well, boys, it's a bit of Nimbin bush bud.
Behave. We'll have to do that episode from California.
So essentially, what you would normally once you break the sound barrier, obviously you're going to see the media first.
Yeah.
And then sometimes considerably later, you'll hear the sound. And what you'll get, because it's breaking the sound barrier, it's going to be a constant sonic boom. So you sort of, that's going to cover, so it comes off like a cone. So you break, the sonic boom happens when you break the speed, you break the sound barrier like a jet.
Yep.
But then that sonic boom continues whilst ever you're traveling faster than that. So that's exactly what would happen. So what they would see, they'd actually see the media go past, potentially out of sight, and then you would get that boom, or sometimes several boom.
Yeah, righto.
So what? The fact there's no way it hit. And
But could one fall through my roof at any point in time?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It happened to you.
That's just
There's actually one, if you jump on a YouTube Russia media sonic boom, you'll see one, I think it was around 2013 or 15, and it actually blew windows out of buildings.
There's a whole patch of
that's why jets actually can't fly down low. They could definitely have that effect.
There's a whole patch of the Siberian forest that's just got decimated by a meteor, and they didn't see it for years. Gone. It's a real thing, Dylan. Build a bunker today.
Come on, mate.
So,
Media preppers.
this is your first time in the studio, boys. So, Pete and Junior, thanks for joining us. At this point of the podcast, we can basically talk about anything because the statistics show that no one listens this long. So,
It normally starts about the song.
Who wants more beer then?
so if there's any more beers in the bag, let's get into those. But
I think that was good. I enjoyed that, Pete.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Pete. Thank you, mate.
Thanks for the mic.
Terrific.
can you get
That was like drinking a campfire.
Can you get a picture of us all at the table? Because we always
No,
forget.
because
to
I
get
won't
a
be able to
picture.
be in it.
We have to do a
I need a
selfie.
selfie
Spin around and
stick.
do a selfie with my phone.
Who cares?
Where's your
It's
phone?
only
Hang
Tim.
This
Oh,
is
he's
good.
got another one in there.
Are you going to have to put your passcode in?
I got plenty.
Oh, no, I can do the camera thing.
What's winning so far? But where's the stone?
Oh,
the stone's good, isn't it?
definitely.
Thanks, Pete.
Get in, Timmy.
Oh, that's going to be too hard. Hang on.
All right, we're going to keep pouring beers here, but we might wrap up the pod. Pete, Junior, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having
As
us.
always, fans, please check us out on the socials. This one's going to be a late one up on the interweb tonight, but at Beers and Banter, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.